Hello, dear listeners. You must be thinking, what the hell? Are these guys actually still alive? Are they back from the dead? What happened? Yes, we know. We've been off for a month. And by the way, I'm not addressing any of that. Why we've been gone, what happened, doesn't matter. What
Lots
is
of
important?
excuses, Ed. Lots of
Lots.
excuses.
I got no excuses. What matters is that we are back. We are still alive. We're still kicking. And for the handful of fans, people who listen to this, we're still here, hoping to grow this, hoping to get this out there. But I can't do that alone. As always, I've got my co-host with me, Harry, my friend. How are you? It's been a long time since we've done a recording.
Yeah. I think it's fair to say that part of our excuse for not coming has been the way the season ended, which I know we're going to get into, and the lack of passion that the end of the season kind of deflated us, really, if you want to call it that. But no, I think we have actually, both of us have been truly busy, haven't we, of late?
Yeah. Life gets in the way. But as I said, I'm not going to address the
Let's
excuses,
not go
blah
there.
blah blah, whatever it may be. We're back. I'm going to get into it. I'm going to kick it because you know what? While everything may have been happening, I am still an Arsenal fan. I'm still geared up to talk, and we have so much to talk about. We have missed a big chunk. We've had our summer holiday. I think it's time to get back to work. But what you said was absolutely correct. The
Yeah,
way the season ended did deflate us. It did take the motivation, it did take the kick and the buzz out of why we were doing this. We were doing this for our enjoyment, to break down, and we were on a good run with some blips and up and down, finally looking at the Champions League spots at that top four after 5 bloody years. And
yeah.
then it comes all crashing down, just like classic Arsenal.
Classic
And you
Arsenal
know,
style. Yeah.
classic Arsenal style. And you know who bloody gets it? Tottenham. It's the Spuds that get the
Yeah,
spot.
yeah.
Conte Magic. Mate, how did the season end for you? I know it's a bit late for everyone. Everyone's moved on, but for
Well,
us personally,
we're gonna mix it up today, aren't we? Because obviously
we are, we
there's a lot
are.
to talk about, isn't
There's a
there, in
lot,
terms of
but
how
but
things ended and where we are now and how that links. But
yeah, but
yeah,
I still want to get your raw feelings because we weren't able to capture it then.
yeah,
I know
yeah.
you were pissed. I know you didn't want to do this. You were just like,
I think
fudge it.
I absolutely was off social media and totally dejected for days. To be honest with you, it felt like someone had died. To be honest with you,
Oh, bloody hell, man.
look. Here's the thing, Zed. This is the problem with the build up. When it comes to the build up for Arsenal and social media, and generally our fan base, it's like we were probably, and I'm sure I'm probably guilty of this too,
Hmm.
but I was at some point trying to tread with caution, sort
I
of,
think we were
little.
all. I think every time we said, let's take game by game, let's take it day by day,
just
let's not
kept
get
on
distracted.
saying just kept on saying that let's not get ahead of yourself. But you were hearing in those last few weeks people on AFTV, for example, going, when we get Champions League football, and it was almost a given, who are we going to sign because we'll be in Champions League. And I just whether I expressed it so much, I mean, I can't remember now because it's been, as I say, over a month. Whether I was silently nervous because this was a young team.
Hmm.
As many of those players have never been in this position, and I think when they lost at Spurs, I think they lost Champions League football. And we
You
we
think it
should have.
came down to mentality then?
I think so. Yeah, I think they bottled it. I think really
Mm.
did. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think if we have Tierney in those games, a
Hmm.
fit Tierney, a fit um, uh, uh,
Party.
Party, yeah, and I think there was some blips in the defence as well, because I mean I don't think Ben White was fully fit as well. I think if we have a full team, the team that had been winning most of those games during the season, I think we probably just get past the line.
Mm.
But then there's the other perspective to this. As Ed, done a lot of reflecting, since then, and I've kind of calmed down. And this is the problem with social media. There's all of this. Then we don't get it, and all of the usual accounts are, well, it's development. Oh, well, it's we weren't supposed to be there anyway, and whatnot. And it would have been a dream come true for this team. And look, there's a lot that's resting on this. Said, a lot of the stuff that we're going to no doubt get into, but we've got to look at, for example, the young superstars like your Chackers, like your Smith Rowe, like your
Young superstar.
Martinellis. In terms of Zed, how are we going to keep them? He's got a couple of years left on his contract.
Saka's got about
Saka,
2 years left. I think they,
yeah,
they
yeah,
need to open dialogue as soon as possible,
and and
really.
and and when is this getting Champions League this year would have been so much of a settler in these areas. But look, it is what it is, and I think on reflection, when you think about it with your sensible head, it's true. We just weren't there. We weren't ever going to be there, and we shouldn't have been where we were. And my reflection is really, Zed talked about, felt really, what would we have done in the Champions League next season? Were we ready?
We're
And
getting
probably,
knocked, get schooled by Bayern 5-1.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying is that we probably, with this manager, with this group of players, we probably were a little bit ahead of ourselves. But as we are going to get into, no doubt, is this summer's transfer window was always going to be key, and there's debates now, isn't there, of Tottenham have got
It
the Champions
is,
League, and are
yeah.
they still attracting the players that we could? And we're not seeing that with the links, are we?
No, no. I think that before we get into that Champions League
Yeah.
and the summer transfer window, I think for me, don't you feel that it was anticlimactic? Not because
Oh,
that was the
totally.
team's goal, but because the fans and everyone got behind it so much. The
Yeah.
fact that we all got, you know, so much. We saw the potential in this team, and we
Our
saw, okay,
feet
you know what?
weren't on the ground though, and that's the realistic thing here is that we started to dream a bit too soon.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I'm trying to articulate. That we were dreaming as fans that this was going to be the case, but I think at the boardroom level, and probably Arsenal as a club, never actually set the target for Champions League football. I think the
It
target
it
was
shows then
European.
though, does it? It shows though, doesn't it, how out of touch the board are then really? Because actually, the fans, and don't get me wrong, I'm not always one to believe a major voice in the fan base, but the fans were really homing in on January being that, because this was beginning to form a possibility in January.
Yeah, but I get that, but remember the way they approached this, and I'm going to play devil's advocate here, right? The way they approached this whole scenario with spending a lot of money in the summer, getting the right targets to make a squad that Arteta and Edu wanted,
Mm.
right? So I think it's not just Arteta's squad. I think it's as much Edu's squad as is Arteta's, and you're noticing a lot more of that now in this summer transfer window, which we'll come to later on. But basically, the target, I think January transfer window is always hard to do business in, right? And yes, they got rid of Aubameyang and they didn't bring a striker in, and they didn't play
That's
Eddie
that's the
quick enough.
that's the thing for me.
Yeah,
Sorry to cut
but
you.
no, no, no. But
If
they
you go,
they
if
could
you're
have
gonna
played Eddie.
this look, if you're a big club, right, like Arsenal are, we're a big club. We're one of the biggest clubs in Europe. Yeah, big clubs don't let star strikers go without replacing them. It just doesn't happen. Bayern Munich, would they do that? PSG, would
Mm.
they do that? Man United wouldn't do it. It's, well, actually, probably today's Man United probably would let, but they don't really count as a big club now, do they? Let's be honest.
Well, I think
Uh,
you have to say that the way you're talking about a big club, Man United are attracting, and we'll come on to that. But
but we are a big club. We still are a
uh,
big club, and we don't act like a big club, and that's what the problem was. Is, and I think if we have a clinical striker in January, right? Vlahovic has come out, hasn't he, in the last few weeks and said,
he didn't want Arsenal. It was
no, no,
clear that he wanted.
he's literally come out and said there was no Arsenal link. He's
No,
literally
no,
said we didn't even answer the phone. You
no,
know,
because he didn't want to. It was
yeah,
simple. The fact it
yeah.
wasn't the fact that Arsenal weren't approaching. His mind was set Juventus. Remember, players in Italy, if they they like playing in Italy, there's only
It's
one
hard,
club they
isn't
want
it,
to go.
to get
Yeah,
them here?
it's they only want to go to Juventus, right? That's their big club. It's the same thing in Germany. Everyone just wants to go to play for Bayern because it's guaranteed trophies, it's guaranteed legacy, right? That's what they wanted. So Vlahovic never really actually thought of anything else. He just wanted Juventus. And
Mm.
go back to that summer. What you call the midfielder that Juventus bought? What's the guy? I don't know what his name is now. Italian guy as well. He also wanted from Sassuolo. He also
Oh, the
wanted,
one that the swallow. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, Sassuolo. I don't quite remember his name now, But he also wanted Juventus, and Arsenal were going hard at him, submitted a couple of bids. But you know what? These guys aren't going to pick up their phone. They tell their agents, either it's Juventus or either it's nothing. I'm staying put, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you don't get guys
But it
like that.
but it cost us though, didn't it? That you spend that you spend a whole window on basically what was a PR campaign, and that's really what pisses me off here.
Well,
Is
no,
that,
that's up to
I
Edu and
think
that's up to the
I think
people.
in January the club had the fans' trousers pulled down. I really do. I think that was a charade, the whole Vlahovic chase.
Hmm.
I think there was never ever any solid. Come on, I mean, look, we've been discussing transfers for how many years now? We kind of know how this works, don't we? You
Well,
know, you,
40
you don't.
million and £1.
Well, exactly, but you don't go in. That was funny. That was you don't go in and start talking to clubs and putting bids in when the player clearly is not interested. I think Arsenal knew the player was not interested, and I think there was a big smokescreen there. And I truly believe we have a. And look, I'm not saying that we should have gone out and signed, um, the world-beating striker. What's his name from Borussia Dortmund, Haaland. I'm not saying go out and break the bank for him. I'm saying go out and find the striker that someone like Origi from Liverpool. I don't know if he wasn't playing a 6 month loan. You know, there were links to other strikers. I think Lacazette started that decline, didn't he? And,
Hmm.
and, and, and his goals. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a massive fan of him, and I was a fan then. And it's sad to see him go, but he just wasn't putting the goals in. He wasn't putting. He wasn't clinical. And Eddie, as much as he had a great end to the season, Zed, you mentioned him
Hmm.
earlier, he was never going to be that guy to lead the line for Arsenal. Very naive from the coaching staff and very naive from Edu.
No, no. Even if the fact was, look, they're saying, "Oh, Eddie was never going to be the guy." You've fought very hard to keep him, right? You've given him a contract, but why not just play him at that point? Why did it take three losses and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
a lot of
Very
things,
reactive.
very
Yeah.
very reactive? Why not get ahead of it and say, "Look, Laka's
Look,
had a couple of
even
games.
if
He's
that
not
happens,
scoring."
Zed, even if that happens, Zed, I still don't think we're getting past the line. I really don't. I think the problem is there was almost too much youth in that team, right? And you're right. Eddie did show some good form, but I still think that you needed when you look the velocity, a player like Aubameyang, right,
Hmm.
and what he can do, you're never going to replace him. Not in certainly
Not in January.
in January. But then look, I'm confused a little bit about this because it's almost like, well, then why let him go? Well, we talked about this
We
extensively,
we
didn't we?
we
And,
we've
and I
co-
was
we've
an
covered
advocate,
this.
for letting him go. But a big club has a plan.
I think
The small clubs have a plan. We just looked like a really naive outfit then, Zed.
I think one thing I will add on to right now is it wasn't just the fact that fine the striker was a problem, but the major problem that we was caused was because we had no good backups. At one point, we didn't know we were going to go into the Spurs game with actually two fit centre backs,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
right?
There's all over
So
the squad. Yeah.
it was all over the squad. It wasn't just the fact, and you can't really rebuild a squad in January. I think the whole point was that they were going to go out and they were going to try to secure uh, what you call European football, whatever it may be. I think they even set their target as low as Conference League because they knew this is a long-term project. Exactly what Manchester United is now trying to do with Eric and Hog, right? What they wanted was a long-term project, and what they wanted was just to get into European football so you
Mm,
can attract the players. But regardless, I'm going to try to move this conversation on now. I think it was disappointing, not because didn't achieve it. I don't think they actually set out to achieve it. I think
yeah.
the mentality problem is there, not the they didn't sign anyone. I think they didn't sign anyone because they were like, okay, can we secure, even if we win half the games, can we secure European football? No. And the answer was yeah. So why
Mm.
not wait to get our real targets and do our business in the summer, which is a better market for us to operate in,
Well,
and we
there's an
can get the
answer for
better
that though,
players.
Zed, very quickly, because I know you want to move on. Is that now you're not just contending with the usual giants, i.e., your Manchester United, who have got pretty much unlimited funds, your Man Cities, your Liverpool, who we've already seen them strengthen
Mm.
with the best finisher in the world almost. Um, you've got teams like Newcastle now that are coming and there will be a threat to us. You've got the Tottenhams that are getting better. We hate it, believe it or not. We don't want to see that. You
It's
know,
the Conte effect, man. But
you've
it's
got teams that are now beginning to threaten us, and yes, there was always that issue about whether we could still attract. Yeah, I don't think we have a problem. We're in London. We're a sort of London swinging club. We can attract the players and we can pay the players. That's not an issue. But the problem was always going to be is this going to be it was almost like a bit of a fluke season, really, because the usual outfits, United's and your Chelsea's to an extent,
Mhm.
they only got past the line, but really just about really.
Just at the end, yeah.
Just at the end, because they could have easily slipped out of that top four race, and they were having an off season, and so are Manchester United, and that get open the door for us. Are we gonna see that next year when some of these teams come back stronger?
We don't know exactly. Remember last season, the season before, Manchester United had finished second. So
Mm,
you never really know what the season's going to be like. And yes, there's a big, what you call, push coming in, let's say, for Tottenham with the Conte effect. But remember what Conte does bring, which is a lot of baggage. And if he doesn't get what he wants, he will throw his toys out the pram. And in about half the year's time, in January, he could actually walk. That's the
mm,
kind of guy he is, right? And what Tottenham will be left with will be a bloated, overage squad with even Perisic getting 140,000 a week for about 2 3 years, right? And they'll be in shit. So in the long term, even Manchester United have realized it to challenge the likes of Man City, to challenge the likes of Liverpool, who operate so well, and to a certain extent now Newcastle, you have to be smarter, which is why which it's actually a good segue to get into the transfer market business. The summer why is so important for us because they have to target players not only that they can build the club around, the team around, but also that have some resale value. In
mm,
recent years, Arsenal have let literally up to 100, 150 million worth of talent walk out for free.
yeah,
Probably near two, 300. I don't know if someone out there has done the math, but I'm sure someone has, and it will look insane,
yeah.
right?
Zed,
So
I'm absolutely not in any denial of that fact that overall their transfers since Edu has come in and Arteta has come in is they have got rid of a lot of the dead wood and they have bought players where there is resale value. I can absolutely. I'm not one of these fans that's fickle and just turns off and turns back on. I
mhm,
can see the long term strategy, and you take you. I can see we're going to talk about it in a few minutes, but if they do secure Rafinha and Saka decides to walk in next season with 1 year left on his deal, we've still got a ready-made replacement. I can see that there's some cleverness in what they're
exactly.
trying to do there, and I like that. I have to say that I'm very pleased with that. But I think that they lost the plot a bit in January by letting there was almost this kind of, and I keep on talking about this, but there's almost this kind of show of desperation, really. I mean, if you were going to let Aubameyang go, you'd let him go, surely, at the end of the window, right in. Other clubs do this. They do it to us. You know, you can see. I know you're going to talk about it in a minute, but this Rafinha thing, this Tielemans thing, it could drag on until the last few weeks of the window
Oh, it will, it
because
will,
because
it will
because
do.
that's what clubs do. They give us the runaround, but we always seems to be the club that gets ran around, but we don't give others a runaround. We almost seem to be quite weak when it comes to negotiation and especially when it comes to sale of players. Right? It's like we gave Aubameyang away, really.
Oh, we did. We absolutely did because at that point, and we've covered it in the previous episodes, and I'm sure our listeners can go and check those out. But we've covered this topic that Aubameyang had to go not because of who he was and what was happening and why his form. It was the influence he was having on a team that was very young and impressionable, right? It was the same reason why Özil had to go.
But the problem is, though, Zed, and I know you don't want to
Yeah,
go
yeah,
into it,
I
is is
know,
that
but
is that why do we as a club, and this is what I'm talking about in terms of how we operate. I'm not talking about the individual cases now. Is that why are the world's best kept secrets known in the complete public domain when it comes to these things. Why couldn't it have been? I mean, he's gone over there and he's done really well. Uh, um, Aubameyang has.
Mhm.
Why couldn't have these things be kept under wrap and some kind of other story be invented for the reason for the sale of Aubameyang? It
Well,
could have all of our stuff gets out so that Guendouzi's a very good example. We've let Guendouzi go for basically free. I think what is it, 8, 10 million euros or something
oh
like that.
yeah, it's stupidly cheap.
We've given him away for free. And why? Because the world knows, the world and their dogs know that Arsenal have had issues with this lad and they're willing to
Mhm.
cut ties with him regardless.
Well, that's what you get for being a big club. It's the same thing that Manchester United suffer from, right? Everything Pogba says, everything. When Mourinho and Pogba had an argument, it was literally caught on video
Yeah.
because the cameras, everyone is on the big clubs. That's what you get for being a big club. You say Arsenal's a big
I
club,
don't
but
know if
that's
it's
what you
just
get.
that, Zed. I think other big clubs still keep these things under wrap and they silently move on a player without anybody knowing.
Well,
It
you see,
happens. I mean,
yeah, no,
how are they getting rid of players that? I mean, and I'm not comparing Solanke, for example, from Liverpool, but didn't they sell him for? I mean, I've not even heard. I don't even know who bloody plays for now. Did they sell him for?
plays Bournemouth.
Yeah, I mean, did they sell him for 20 million?
Yeah, look, mate, you can't compare apples to oranges. Liverpool have had one of the best directors of football ever in the Premier League in Michael Edwards. Okay, let's just not kid ourselves. That guy has managed to get some of the best deals done ever. Getting Salah for 35 million was stupid. That is an
Mm,
insane. And you know what? It wasn't even surprising that he would be that good because he had 15 plus goal involvements, 15 plus goals scored, 15 plus assists in a single season for Roma. That
mm,
was insane. He had seen that, right? Darwin Nunez is the guy bought by his inheritor, so we shall see how he does. But
mm.
every player that guy bought, Michael Edwards, was stupid. They managed to sell one of their youth products. Their Nketiah equivalent, I think Ryan Brewster or something like that,
Yeah, yeah.
to Sheffield United for bloody 30 odd mil,
There you go. There's
right?
another
But
example.
you need to be in the positions to negotiate and be that negotiator, and not just that. You need to have the coach on your side to be able to do it. But even him could not prevent a player like Origi from working for free,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
right? So you don't win everything. The problem with Arsenal has been Wenger was in charge of everything, literally everything from head to toe.
yeah.
He left. They had no idea on what to do. What they did was, let's pick some names out of the hat to the biggest guy. Let's get Sven Mittens. Let's get Rahul Selnehi from Barcelona. Let's get Per Mertesacker to be in our academy. And, let's have even Gazidez, who after 6 months decide, forget this, I'm going to AC Milan, right?
Mm,
So all of that plan, everything has been up and down, right? The transfer strategy has been stupid until last summer. They've bought random players, you know, Mislintat came in. You know what he's going to do? His bright idea was, I'm just going to make the Dortmund team again in Arsenal.
mm,
So he bought Aubameyang, he bought Mkhitaryan, he bought Socrates, and bloody hell, he probably would have bought Mario Götze and everyone else. Like,
mm.
hey, you go Dortmund 2.0. That's how we do it, right? The problem is all of these clubs that you're talking about, Man City's, Liverpool, the reason why they're so good, and to a certain extent Chelsea, the reason why they were so good, or they are so good, is because of the structure they have.
Mm,
FSG took over. They employed Michael Edwards, and then Michael Edwards said, "You know what? You fired Brendan Rodgers. Let me tell you the guy you're going to bring, and that's Jurgen Klopp." It was the technical director's choice. What we've had
I
here,
guess we're just on that journey, aren't we?
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I can go on this for ages and ages, talking about different clubs and how good their setups are. But Arsenal is on a journey, and I think that's what people don't appreciate. That finally, for once, we have a clear hierarchy. Vinay is the CEO, Edu is the technical director, Arteta is the manager. The people who build the team are Edu and Arteta. Edu does the negotiation, identifies the players. Arteta says yes or no. Let's talk about it. Which ones are
Mm,
good? Which ones are good? Not good? Right? That's how they're doing it. Right? And so far, what we've seen are players all under the age of 23 come in, which have big, which are on long contracts on small wages. And this is the key part. on stupidly low wages, right? The wage structure is being reduced. Remember, we were paying Aubameyang 350 million for
Yeah,
no
yeah, yeah.
bloody
No,
reason,
no.
right?
Zed, I said in those areas, I'm very, very appreciative and impressed by the business. But I always home back into that. You know, you asked me about Champions League and how that end of the season was. It was the lack of preparedness, not just in the striker area, in the centre midfield area as well, that cost us Champions League football. I think we have more depth in January. We come out of that better.
Yeah, but remember, I think is now what you're saying is they need to have people ready to go negotiate in January for a situation that might occur. So yes, they will get rid of Aubameyang. In January, you need to have identified a player that fits your
Yeah,
characteristics,
yeah,
does all that, and then go and negotiate with him to do this. Remember, we bought Aubameyang in January, by the way, right? When we did that stupid Sanchez and Mkhitaryan swap
yeah,
deal as well,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So they spent 51 million on Aubameyang in January to get a striker when that exact summer they spent 40 million to buy Lacazette,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
It was
And
silly.
and that screwed up whole of Lacazette's legacy into the club because he was just getting started. Really, he never kicked on from that point.
No.
Right? He was just getting used to playing with Sanchez, who wants to be a centre forward, Özil, who wants to not run back but also be a centre forward, and himself. And then you
Yeah.
got Ramsey, who's also trying to be a centre forward. Right? So he was still trying to work it out, and that's one of my biggest regret with Lacazette. Right? He never actually got a chance until his last 2 months to be the number nine, or the
Mm,
first 2 3 months to be the number nine.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's why that didn't work. So you know what? Champions League football, I think we missed out on it. Fine, it hurts. It was bad, but I'm willing to let it go only on this basis the fact that I'm hoping that with the structure, with everything in place, the next couple of seasons are marked improvements on this. It's
Yeah.
not the
Yeah. Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah. I think
I
most
could be
people will
proving
be.
wrong,
Yeah.
right? I think I could be completely wrong, and they can, screw up again. Edu's gone, Arteta's gone because they decide, you know what, this is not working out, and we're going to rip up the page and start again, which will be colossally stupid. If one of them has to go, it will just be Arteta because the technical director must stay the same, and then you change your manager or the coach.
Mm,
If you fire both of them, you're back to page one.
yeah.
And any fan calling for both of them to be gone, all you're really saying is rip up the page, start again, and you're back to square one. That is
Yeah.
stupid. Let this play out. Let Edu build something there for the time being. At least give him 3 to 4 years or even 5 years to build something, and then let's see, right? There are shitty transfers, there's shitty business across. I mean, I don't have to mention Lukaku, the best transfer in the history of Premier League, right? People were saying he's going to break every record and all that kind of shit. And it has to work. The player and the manager have to work. You bought Lukaku for a coach who wanted tactical adaptability, and you bought a guy who is really not tactically adaptable. He just wants to play in the front two.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was proven in Manchester United, and that was stupid business. So rather than do a Lukaku, I'm better we did nothing. I'm happier with
Mm,
that we did nothing. But mate, other than that long tirade, let's get on with the actual topic. We're in the summer transfer window now, and Arsenal have done some business.
yeah. Yeah. They have.
Um, so a couple of unknown players have come in. One is Marquinhos from Brazil. Edu link-ups. Apparently, he's supposed to be the next Martinelli, right?
Let's see. Let's see.
Which let's see. I think he's very much one for the future. 19 years old.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think he's just going to be playing with the youth team. If he impresses enough, like Martinelli did, if you remember, he was supposed to be playing with the youth team, and
Yeah.
suddenly you
Yeah. Yeah. Could
realize,
be another Martinelli, couldn't it? Yeah.
yeah, exactly. He was supposed to be playing with the youth team, and suddenly you realize, bloody hell, there's a player here, right?
Yeah.
So for 3 mil, I think that's a good signing. I think that's just if it works, brilliant. If it doesn't work, yeah, it's all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But the big money signing that's happened in the last couple of days is Fabio Vieri from Porto.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'll be honest, mate, I had no idea who the hell this guy
You
is.
and me both. You and me both. Yeah. Yeah. He seems a tidy little player from YouTube though, doesn't he? And it's interesting sort of the profile as well. Apparently, he's one of the leading assists in Europe. You can see that these guys are looking at the stats very, very carefully.
Hmm.
They're looking at sort of somebody who can produce. I think where the team seems to be going now is he seems to be wanting to emulate that kind of Pep Guardiola kind of almost false nine esque kind of lots and lots of goals and assists coming from midfield.
Hmm.
That sort of high pressure football, move everybody up the pitch. Lots of technical players now because he's a technical player, isn't he? This guy, if you look at him,
Yeah, it's the
he's not
same.
he's not like a Chaka, is he? And putting his foot on the ball and just what I mean. Just slowing stuff down. He's a mover, isn't he? And he'll look to be encouraging movement with some of his balls over the top and I have the he's Odegaard 2.0, isn't he? If you want to look at it like that.
Yeah. I think honestly, I'm a bit confused with this one. Obviously, I didn't know who this guy was, so he plays attacking midfield or even as a secondary striker, by the way. So he's played
I
in the
heard
front
that.
too.
Yeah, I heard he can
Yeah,
play in the front too. Yeah,
so he can play in the front too. He's played out, on wide as well. And he's only dropped deep very, very rarely, but his predominant place is either attacking midfield or the secondary striker. So either he's a Lacazette replacement to be the secondary striker to enable, your likes of Smith Rowe, Saka, Martinelli to get up front and do that kind of stuff, to be the false nine, as you say,
yeah.
or he is the number eight, as you say, with
For
Party as
me,
the single pivot and
for
Odegaard and
me,
him.
for me, that's what it looks like. He looks like that he will be going with because I don't think you're shifting Party when he is fit. Party will be that single pivot,
Hmm.
and then he's going to be playing with two eights. Odegaard on one side. Interesting though, both of them left-footed,
Yeah. I think
and
it's
I wonder if because there's obviously this lot of talk now, isn't it? And I think he's apparently said this in an interview that he wants two quality players in every position, which I know
well,
we're going to
yeah,
come on
yeah.
to. So you wonder if is he going to be Odegaard's understudy, and then they look at sort of a Tielemans later on in the window,
Hmm.
and then Chaka becomes backup for Party
Yeah, I mean, yeah, possibly. I think
because Chaka
it's
can play. I mean, Chaka's not naturally that sort of left eight, but he played there, didn't he? And
he did play
to be
that.
fair, he did a job. I
I
wouldn't
think
say
I
that.
think I think he was all right. I think he
Yeah,
was getting forward. He can pick up the ball. I think the
he's
advantage
he's an intelligent footballer. Chaka is, to be
he
fair.
is.
You
I
can't
think
take that away from him.
no, the advantage of playing Xhaka at that, as the second eight, especially up the field, is that he can break up play up the field, so you
Yes.
regain possession quicker. So it's a bit of the Jurgen Klopp style, Gengen press, where you press and get you have good tacklers who are pressing high up the field to win you the ball back and pass it and quickly score. So, but this guy is he's not the biggest lad, right? He's very average height,
He is,
1.7
yeah.
meters, right?
Yeah.
He's very technically gifted. The problem is, to me, it reminds me of some of the old days, right? Where Wenger would go for these talented, neat on the ball,
Yeah.
pretty players, if you would call it the beautiful football players, right?
Yeah. Your Ramses of the world. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right. The problem is they come to the Premier League while technical ability is always good, you get done. So you get physically pushed around, right? Pep Guardiola has shown a different style to play this, right? He's turned Bernardo Silva into an out and out monster who does everything, runs ground and does everything. So for me, I think you're right. My only worry is that Party being the single pivot, playing that Rodri role, if you want to call it, is a bit scary for me because of not because of Party isn't good enough to play it. It's because of his fitness. What
Yeah.
happens when he goes down? Does Mo Elneny become that player? Is he the understudy who comes in? Obviously, they've extended his contract as well. So does he come in and start to become that understudy to Party? And he's gonna look. He had a fantastic second out of half of the season
Yeah,
when he
he
came
did.
out, right? So I'm sure he can do a job, but is he gonna be as good? Probably not. I don't
No,
think
of course.
he's at that level. So I'm still looking for that player to be the understudy of Party. Probably not this summer, but January or next summer,
Yeah.
right? You're obviously suggesting that Xhaka can play there. I say no. I think Xhaka is probably more suited to be the eight, right, rather than to be the single
Okay.
pivot. Um, so for Fabio, I think it's a decent signing. I think 35 mil is probably too much for him. I would have thought 25, 27 between 22 to 27 mil is something that you should have paid for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
But if Arteta wants to turn him into a Bernardo Silva-like player who has monster work rate, just runs up and down the pitch all day, all day, all day, and gives Odegaard the freedom to be a lot more creative and a lot more dropping into the zone, helping Party out, helping Odegaard out, be the all-action midfielder, then possibly I think that could work. I think for me, this guy is, you're right, Rodri is basically Party, and you've got Odegaard, who's a bit more of your Kevin De Bruyne style, not
Yes. Yes.
right, obviously, and then you've got this guy who's going to be your Bernardo Silva, who's going to run
Bernardo
up and down.
Silva. Absolutely. Yeah. It's a Pep 2.0. That's what's going
It's
on
it's
here.
it's, it's a copy paste, mate. That's what it is. But but obviously they paid 50 million for Bernardo, and every single penny was worth that. So
Yeah. 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 No, I don't. He's a tidy player.
yeah, and Bernardo's left-footed as well, I think.
He is. He is indeed. Yeah.
Yeah, so it seems like a copy paste from Pep. So if Arteta does and want to prove himself to be Pep 2.0,
Yeah.
it's easy.
Well, listen. I mean, look, his stats are very good for his age. He was a sort of. He ended up becoming a starter in the team. I think this was the same team that the chap from Liverpool had left,
Darwin
and
Nunes,
no, not Darwin Nunes. The chap that they got in January. Um, the Salah
January.
replacement.
Oh, Luis Diaz.
Diaz. Yeah. So Luis Diaz sort of exited and to join Liverpool, and this guy ended up getting more playing time
Hmm.
because of that. So he's done really well. He's set up a lot of goals. He's scored a few as well. I think he will. I'm not worried about it at all. I think he'll slot in
No.
really well, but we need more.
Yeah, so just for reference, he's got 6 goals and 14 assists in
That's very good.
27 games. But remember, Porto is like the Bayern of bloody
Yeah,
Premier League,
obviously
right?
you need to do it here. Yeah,
Yeah. So, but one thing I will say is, in recent years, players coming from the Premier League to England have done very well. You've got your Bruno Fernandes, and you've got Luis Diaz now. You've
yeah,
got
yeah,
Ruben Diaz in City, right? All of these players have come in, and they've been hits, all of them. So I think the Portugal league should be given a lot more credit recently than others. People actually, surprisingly, players coming from Germany have struggled a lot more than players coming from Portugal to England,
yeah.
right? So I think Haaland might actually struggle compared to others,
I hope he
obviously.
does.
Oh, mate, wouldn't that be the most brilliant thing?
Yeah, he would.
I would absolutely love it. Not because I don't think he's a good player or anything like that, but egg on City's face is the only thing. It'll just be
Yeah,
fun.
we'd love that. We'd love that.
Yeah, we'll wait until Newcastle sign Mbappe.
That's coming as well.
Of course, it is. Mbappe is going to be the technical director, just like he is at PSG.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think I think other links. Then we've obviously been linked with Rafinha. A bid has been put in and
yeah,
rejected.
yeah.
Tielemans' interest, as you alluded to, but it's cooled a bit, so he may actually sign a contract extension there as well.
I think from what I've been reading, I don't think I think even Fabrizio Romano has even said that there's no chance he's staying and he's going to sign. I think what the strategy seems to be on the Tielemans thing is, and correct me if you've seen anything different here. It's
Hmm.
open for debate, no doubt. Is there's no other clubs that are really interested in Tielemans other than Arsenal. There's nobody that's really solid or any substance of any decent club rather that is really going. And what the problem seems to be is um, he Leicester, sorry, want 30 to 35 million, but Arsenal are
Yeah.
not prepared to pay more than 25 million.
Well,
So
he's got
what
a year left on his contract,
he's
so
got a year
30 mil
left,
is a
so,
bit.
which is fair. I don't think he's worth more than 25 million, to be honest with you. I would agree with what the club are doing. So what they're doing is they are basically, I mean, obviously they've been working on this from March apparently,
Hmm.
um, sort of. So they know that the player wants to come, and they will see out what happens in the window. if anybody else comes into him, but they remain confident in signing Tielemans,
Hmm.
and they probably will end up paying what they wanted to pay because otherwise Leicester risk letting him go on a free next year.
Yeah, yeah. I think Leicester's got money and they're very good selling club, so it's hard to get players out
If
of
we pull
Leicester.
him off for 25 mil, though,
Oh, it's a bargain, man.
I
It's a
think that's
bargain.
excellent business. I have to say,
It's a
I am
bargain.
hearing about Gabriel Jesus as well. That's been
Yes.
tied up. I mean, I think it's soon to be announced, but tied up at. And if this is true, this is a steal, as Ed, at 45 million all in.
Well, it says 50 million from reports, but yeah, I think if you look at it, 5 years of Premier League experience, yes, it's good. He's 25, so he's just about to enter his prime. Obviously, City did very good business by getting Haaland in for about 60 million, right? That's freaking steal. Let's just be honest for that one, right?
Yeah.
But and they've got Julian Alvarez coming in, so Jesus he does want to move. Uh, but I'm hearing that the Spuds are trying to hijack this.
Which one?
Spurs,
The Jesus?
yeah, the
No,
Jesus
no.
one.
You need to be in touch with the latest news they've pulled out today.
All right, what have they
Yeah.
said now?
Well, I think it's more what Jesus is not really interested in joining them. Why would he?
Well, yeah, I think it makes sense from him to be fair because he doesn't want to play second fiddle to Harry Kane. Let's
Yeah,
be
yeah.
very honest, right?
And not just that as well. It's Tottenham. I mean, they're shit.
No, I think he'll probably be tempted by playing for Conte more than anything else.
I don't
But the
know.
problem,
Look, he knows Arteta, and Arteta knows what he's going to get out of him. I think you're right. Don't I'm agreeing with you in that
Mhm.
he wants to start and he will
Yeah, of
start
course,
at Arsenal. That's probably the biggest thing. You got to remember as well. There's
it's a
other
World Cup year.
analysis.
It's a World Cup year,
I was
mate.
just gonna say that there's other analysis around it because I've been following this quite keenly actually the Jesus stuff, and I've been reading a bit about his background and whatnot. That there were some issues with him playing with Brazil because apparently I didn't even know this. It
Mm.
went under the radar, but he went in the last World Cup. He didn't, despite starting all of their games, he didn't score a single goal in the whole of the World Cup. And read about it. You'll see Zed is
Yeah,
that the discussions between the coach and Jesus about, well, where do you want to play?
yeah,
And he said, look, maybe this is out of sort of lack of confidence of not scoring for Brazil. I mean, he has scored for Brazil since then, but not in a World Cup,
in
and
the
that
World
plays
Cup
on
year.
your mind, doesn't it? Because obviously that's the biggest stage in the world, isn't it?
Absolutely,
Playing
yeah.
and scoring the World Cup. But they've obviously, as you know, I mean, even from in our own club, when you look at Martinelli, and hopefully we're about to sign Rafinha, is they're stacked, aren't they? On the left hand side
Absolutely,
and the
absolutely.
right hand side for Brazil. And then you've got all of these players like Neymar who can play off those sides as well. So
You've got
um,
Vinicius,
Vinicius,
Rodrigo.
yeah, and it probably is going to be Vinicius, isn't it? Really, but they've
Yeah,
got an abundance of talent in those wing areas. So the kind of thinking that he's coming is that he starts and makes it big in a central role now, which is where primarily he would play for Arsenal. I can't see if they are linked with Rafinha so strongly as I believe Arsenal are. I can't see Jesus going out playing wide. I'm sure he will do, or as an option if needed. But he's coming to from what I read, is to play as that central role, and really make a claim for a central role in the Brazil team for the World Cup.
I 100% agree. I think he wants to be the centre forward because Bobby Firmino isn't exactly the young spring chicken that he once was.
And he
And
hasn't played a lot for Liverpool as well this season,
exactly,
or
exactly.
last
So,
season.
the other options are number nine are Joe Linton or Gabby Jesus, right? So I think
Or,
Joe
or, or,
Linton's.
or a bit of Martinelli, to be honest with you. And this is what I was going to say to you earlier as
Mhm.
well, is that, when he was taking his time and kept on playing Lacazette, he's like, actually, maybe, like, play a bit of Martinelli through the middle, you know?
Yeah, we have thought of. I mean, we've talked about this a lot. I mean, a lot of Arsenal fans have, but it's never happened, has it?
No, and I wonder, was it? Is it TT? Is it their coach, Brazilian
I think
coach?
so, Tete. Yeah.
Whether he can see a role for Martinelli there, because
No, I think he's
you
going
know,
to take him as a Neymar backup on that left wing slot, essentially,
mm,
because they're going to have Rafinha. Because remember, they've got Richarlison as centre
Richarlison
forward.
as well. Yeah, yeah.
So right now, I think their preferred centre forward is probably Richarlison rather than Jesus.
Yeah,
Um,
but I guess what my point is behind it is that's not a huge amount of competition, is it? It's not like you're up against R9. You know what
No,
I mean? Like
no, no. Mate,
you know,
that's not competition. That's a
you
massacre.
might as well just not go. Do you know what I mean? If he's going, but yeah, I think he truly believes through this transfer, his chances of beating. Because I mean, Tottenham is strongly linked to Richarlison, which will probably looks like it will happen. But
Hmm.
it's like you said earlier, isn't it? Is that are these guys going to get in ahead of
Harry
Harry
Kane, no way.
Kane? No
No.
chance.
In Tottenham, let's be very clear. Nobody's getting ahead of Harry Kane and Heung-min Son.
No,
No,
and fair enough.
absolutely. They're probably, the most deadliest combo in the Premier League up front,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
From an out and out forward point of view, these guys are superly good, right?
World class, aren't they? And
Absolutely,
that's
man.
it. And so that's what I mean. I know they're obviously going to be in the Champions League. They've got a lot of games, a lot of competitions they're in. But a lot of your prospective sort of signings, sort of like Richarlison's one of them that we touched on, is they'll be looking at that and they'll go, well, where am I actually going to play?
Exactly, exactly. No, I think Jesus to Arsenal is very possible. I think other than probably AC Milan coming in last minute and saying, look, we need a centre forward because
No,
we've
I
got.
can't see it happening again. Like, as I say, Zed, I'm following it very closely.
Mm.
I would be very surprised if this one doesn't happen now.
No, no, it should. It should. I'm saying absolutely should. But if you were to look across the globe, there are options where he can play
Mm.
day in, day out for a very good team competing in the Champions League who've got no strikers. AC Milan have got 40 euros Zlatan Ibrahimovic and a 36-year-old Olivier Giroud.
Yeah,
So if he goes there, he's starting, right?
yeah,
But I would say for Arsenal, because he's worked with Arteta, because of he knows the league, he's been here 5 years, right? Him to get a start day in, day out and be the number nine, get the number nine shirt, because he's gonna start, right? At
yeah,
Arsenal, it's a guaranteed. If he's fit, he starts, right?
yeah,
Because let's be honest, as much as they've bigged up Eddie, Eddie's still gonna be the backup if this guy comes in.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So Eddie's going to get a lot of game time in the Europa League, in the Cups, but in the Premier League, I would say Gabi Jesus starts, and you can see Edu's influence on the Brazilian contingent in Arsenal.
yeah,
That,
yeah, definitely.
that's growing. So if Jesus comes, Rafinha is a lot more chance of getting over the line. But I think to get Rafinha over the line, they have to part ways with
And
Pepe.
I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these things that happen without us knowing. I wouldn't be surprised if Rafinha is looking to that's a good chance for you to link up with Jesus,
Yeah, absolutely.
and actually show the Brazilian coach that look, this is the chemistry that we can produce on the pitch. We've seen it happen in clubs all over Europe, Brazilian link ups, Barcelona, Real Madrid. There's been
Mhm.
lots and lots of times with PSG where these people, because of these players playing together in their respective clubs, the coaches have said, yeah, we'll bring that chemistry in because it seems to work. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I think with Rafinha though, he'll probably be thinking one thing in his mind. He plays on the right wing,
mm,
or the right midfield, if you want to call it, and he's going to be competing with Saka.
yeah, yeah, I welcome that.
Yeah, but
And,
I
and
think that's going to be quite a hard thing for him to say. Look,
Well, listen. The thing is that's what professional football is about. It's about if you're Rafinha, you'll be like, well, I'm getting him out of the team.
hmm.
It's that's what you do. And look, we're in Europe this season as well. And I've said this to you on previous pods, haven't I? And I'm not sure if the coach ever listens to these pods, but you know,
No.
it's like if you're a class club, you know, you have a team for your Europe, your Europa League, which initially is going to be started with youngsters, depending on who you get in the group. But once this
Yeah,
stuff gets serious, you have a set team, and you might start your likes of Rafinha in those Europa League games, and Saka might start in the Premier League game. But I think why I welcome it, Zed, is that Saka's burnt out.
yeah, yeah. No,
Saka needs
definitely.
he needs a rest, Zed.
Yeah, we no, no, we talked about it a
And look,
lot
he'll,
in
he'll be
previous pods.
violated in this World Cup if you think about it. He will be though, won't he? Because
Yeah, yeah.
if we go on what you're saying that actually Saka's the main man here, well, how many Premier League games will he start? And you've seen the fixtures now. We've got a very, very difficult sort of first few games again.
Hmm.
And if Saka gets to that World Cup, I'm surprised he hasn't had a major injury. I really am.
Yeah, yeah. No, I completely get it. I think we
It's a
talked about it
brilliant
a lot.
signing. It's a brilliant signing. Not
If it
necessarily on,
happens.
on yeah. If it does happen, yeah. I'm like those Arsenal fans with Champions League last season, aren't I? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean I've got a feeling that it probably will, but there's a lot. You're right. There's a lot to go. But if it does happen, I think he's the a perfect footballer to push Saka to that
Hmm.
next level, and also to give him a rest as well.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think you need rotation options. We talked about it a lot towards the end of last season as well. The fact that Arteta did not rotate his squad, and when it push comes to shove, he doesn't have anything, and the players aren't ready. So I think there's going to be a lot more squad rotation this year. But mate, I think there's a lot going on. There's going to be a lot going on throughout the summer. Whether we get Rafinha done, whether we get Jesus done, whether Tielemans comes in, or even Lissandro Martinez from Ajax as the
Yeah,
left
yeah.
back, or
Looks like a
you know,
tidy player. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's he's got some interesting nicknames as well. He's got a hell of a left foot apparently. So I mean, we're seeing a lot of incomings, but I want to see some outgoings as well. We need to get
Who do you want out?
players. I mean, you've got the likes of Bellerin, Torreira, you've got Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Pepe. All of these players, they're on big wages. They need to be cleared out as well. And you know what? They don't need to be contract cancelled and here you go, thank you very much, go for free. You need to get some money for them.
Yeah, well, I mean, the story with Bellerin at the moment, again, I'm keeping track on this slightly, is
Yeah,
that, obviously he's got an emotional attachment with, where was he on loan?
Real Sociedad was it?
Sociedad. Well, no, it wasn't Sociedad,
Or
it was
was it Betis?
Real Betis, yeah.
Yeah.
And, he's basically sort of wanting to see if Arsenal would cancel the contract like they did with Kolasinac and Ozil and Aubameyang. And they said no. They've said
No, no.
no, no. You're a good player. You've played well. You've won something out there with them. You'll go for a fee, and fair
Yeah,
enough.
I mean,
Yeah.
getting 15, 20 mil for Bellerin is only right. Yeah.
Torreira is another one as well. Where I think with Fiorentina, I mean, they've really disappointed me, to be honest with you, because we know how much money they've got for Vlahovic,
Yeah.
and they were peeing around over a few million, and basically went away from the loan agreement. They're a club I wouldn't be doing business again anytime soon.
Yeah, yeah. No, I get it. I get it. I think every club in the world wants to rip off the English clubs, whether it's
Yeah,
signing fees or whether they're trying to, buy players off them or selling them players. It's just the way it is. But yeah, I think all of these players, Pepe is a big one, right? Probably not going to get a lot of money from him, but I think a good option for him. He's still got 3 years, 4 years on his contract.
the
Send him out on
latest
loan for a
rumours are
year.
saying about sort of Newcastle loan to buy.
Absolutely, I say, look, not even loan to buy. I think just loan him to a team who's a bit lower down where he's going to start week in week out, because if he gets some goals in him, his transfer market value goes up and you can recoup at least 30-40% of what
Yeah,
you paid.
yeah, 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 yeah. I think
Yeah,
he'd do well at a team like Newcastle or something like that.
I think chuck it into the what you call deal with Leeds
Yeah,
for
yeah,
Rafinha,
possibly.
right?
Yeah,
That should be it. So look, not a straight swap. Say, look, we'll give you Pepe for loan, no loan fee, right? You can have an option to buy if you want to buy, but here's a player for a year for free. Basically, we'll pay his wages, whatever they may be, and give us Rafinha. It's a sweet deal. They get a
yeah,
player who can play in the same location and one the same what you call position, and they don't have to go out for replacement. And Jesse
yeah,
Marsh could probably get a lot out of Pepe, to be honest.
yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, I think the incomings are good, but the squad is a bit bloated, and all of the players who are not playing, they need to be gone,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree with you.
and for money.
Yeah,
All right, mate, it's been excellent recording
yeah.
again
Really enjoyed it.
after a whole
A
month.
long time. Yeah,
Yeah, it's been a good break, but I think we're back at it. We're going to cover the transfer window and we're going to cover the signings that are coming in, and we'll continue talking everything Arsenal. Thank you everyone for listening. If you've tuned in, if you haven't, please try. I think we're producing good content, so please
Yeah,
do give us a subscribe. If you've got any ideas how we can improve, let us know. And if you want to be on the podcast, let us know. You can catch me at Z_TAGP on Twitter. Harry, mate, where can they get you if they want to talk to
the
you?
usual Twitter account, which is at Harry Carnu. So yeah, look forward to hearing from the Gooners, and anybody who wants to come on, as you say, welcome. We want to debate and we want to see what people's thoughts are for the prospective season and transfer window.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I've been Zed. Have a good day.
See you guys.